Over the decades, The Simpsons has gained an eerie reputation for seemingly predicting the future. Some of the show's wildest storylines have later unfolded in real life, leaving fans both amazed and unnerved. Today we'll count down 10 of the weirdest and most uncanny Simpsons predictions that actually came true. Each entry highlights the mysterious or creepy coincidences between the episode and year it aired, and the real-world event that followed. Is it just coincidence? Or do the Simpsons writers have a crystal ball? Let's explore these bizarre predictions, from unsettling foresight to life-imitating cartoon art. In the season 23 episode Lisa Goes Gaga, aired 2012, pop icon Lady Gaga guest starred as herself, arriving in Springfield for a concert. In a spectacle of showmanship, the animated Gaga performs while suspended from cables, flying above the audience in a silver outfit and tall boots. The scene was outrageous and fantastical, a larger-than-life pop star entrance fitting the show's tongue-in-cheek style. Little did anyone suspect that this over-the-top stunt would leave the TV screen and hit a real-life stage. What happened in reality? Just 5 years later, in 2017, Lady Gaga headlined the Super Bowl halftime show and shocked viewers by descending from the stadium roof in a harness, strikingly like her Simpsons cameo. She even wore an uncannily similar sparkly outfit during the aerial entrance. The real-life performance mirrored the cartoon in detail, from Gaga's cable-suspended flight to her bold fashion. Fans were stunned by the resemblance, calling it a fun, if eerie case of life imitating art. What started as a playful parody of The Simpsons became a genuine pop culture moment, making this prediction more thrilling than terrifying, but undeniably mysterious in its accuracy. A quick throwaway gag in a 1998 episode proved to be shockingly prophetic. In Season 10's When You Dish Upon a Star, Homer meets Hollywood celebrities, and one scene flashes a sign at the 20th Century Fox studio lot, revealing it to be a division of Walt Disney Co. It was meant as a satirical joke about media consolidation, not a serious prediction. At the time, the idea of Disney buying 20th Century Fox seemed far-fetched and amusingly absurd. Yet the Simpsons writers planted this blink-and-you-miss-it visual gag that would later send chills down the spines of fans looking back. What happened in reality? About 19 years later, truth caught up with satire. In 2017, the Walt Disney Company announced a historic $52 billion deal to acquire 21st Century Fox, the parent of 20th Century Fox. A merger completed in 2019. The real-world Disney-Fox merger stunned the entertainment industry, but attentive Simpsons fans were less surprised. They had seen that exact scenario joked about in Springfield years before. This corporate prediction isn't spooky in a supernatural way, but it's uncanny how accurately the show lampooned a future business deal. It's as if the writers peered into the boardroom crystal ball, making viewers wonder what other media shakeups The Simpsons has foretold. In the Season 10 episode The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, 1998, Homer Simpson becomes an inventor and scribbles a complex equation on a chalkboard while brainstorming. The equation seems like a typical cartoon gibberish at first glance, but it held a hidden significance. In an impressive twist, that mathematical scrawl was later found to be eerily close to predicting the mass of the Higgs boson, commonly nicknamed the God particle, which at the time had not yet been discovered. It's a blink-and-you-miss-it moment loaded with mystery. Why is Homer, of all people, writing advanced physics formulas? The spooky part is how accurate that formula turned out to be. What happened in reality? In 2012, 14 years after the episode, scientists at CERN announced the discovery of the Higgs boson particle. And remarkably, Homer's cartoon equation was nearly spot on. According to physicist Simon Singh, if you solve Homer's chalkboard equation, you get the mass of a Higgs boson that is only slightly larger than the actual known mass. In other words, The Simpsons made a theoretical prediction over a decade before particle physicists confirmed it. Of course, the likely explanation is that one of the show's writers with a science background inserted a real formula as an inside joke. Still, this coincidence is astounding. A cartoon dad anticipating one of science's biggest discoveries, almost as if Homer had tapped into some cosmic knowledge. It's a geeky but jaw-dropping prediction that borders on the paranormal. An innocuous cafeteria scene in a 1994 episode of The Simpsons hinted at a grotesque food scandal that would surface decades later. In Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, Season 5, Lunch Lady Doris is nonchalantly shown stirring a vat of school cafeteria food mixed with assorted horse parts. It's a quick gag, dark humor suggesting that cheap ingredients, even horse meat, are being used to feed the children of Springfield. At the time, this was simply an outrageous joke meant to make viewers shudder and chuckle. No one expected that real school lunches and supermarket products might be hiding something just as disturbing. What happened in reality? In 2013, nearly 20 years later, Europe was rocked by a real horse meat scandal. Food inspectors discovered that beef products sold in the UK and elsewhere were contaminated with undeclared horse DNA, meaning companies had secretly mixed horse meat into burgers and other beef foods. The revelation caused public outrage and health fears. Suddenly, the Simpsons scene didn't seem so far-fetched. Life had imitated animation in the worst way. Viewers who remembered Lunch Lady Doris's pot of assorted horse parts got chills realizing a similar horror had come true. This prediction is both grim and fascinating. A cartoon warning about food integrity that manifested as a real-world scandal, making us wonder if The Simpsons knew something about shady meat suppliers long before anyone else did. In the Season 2 episode 2 Cars in Every Garage and 3 Eyes on Every Fish, 1990, Bart catches a bizarre 3-eyed fish near the Springfield nuclear power plant. The mutated fish, nicknamed Blinky, becomes a local news story and a symbol of the power plant's radioactive pollution. In classic Simpsons style, the episode uses this freakish creature to lampoon nuclear safety. It's creepy comedy seeing a wriggling orange fish with an extra eye staring back. For years, Blinky was just a piece of Simpsons lore, until a very similar mutant surfaced in our reality. What happened in reality? In 2011, anglers in Cordoba, Argentina made a shocking catch. A 3-eyed fish pulled from a reservoir fed by water from a nuclear power plant. The fishermen were stunned to find the fish's third eye, and residents voiced fears that radiation from the plant caused the deformity. The eerie parallel to The Simpsons did not go unnoticed. News reports explicitly compared the Argentine fish to Blinky, the cartoon's 3-eyed fish from 21 years earlier. It was as if The Simpsons' environmental satire had leapt off the screen. While scientists tested the real fish to confirm the mutation's cause, fans marveled and shuddered at the life imitates art moment. A once fictional mutant fish became reality, highlighting the creepy plausibility of The Simpsons' nuclear nightmare. In the Season 7 episode, The Day the Violence Died, 1996, The Simpsons depicted a scene of political chaos that, in hindsight, feels uncomfortably close to a real event decades later. In the episode, an angry mob storms the steps of Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., waving signs and shouting in outrage. It's shown in a comedic context, animated characters rioting at the Capitol as part of a story about constitutional amendments. But the imagery is striking. The seat of American democracy under siege by a crowd. At the time, this seemed like zany fiction. Nobody expected to see a similar Capitol riot in real life, outside of perhaps a history book. What happened in reality? On January 6th, 2021, a pro-Trump mob stormed the U.S. Capitol building in a violent insurrection that shocked the world. The real-life crowd broke past security and swarmed the very same steps and halls of Congress that the Simpsons had shown being overrun in cartoon form. The eerie similarity between the 1996 episode and the 2021 riot was widely noted by fans and media. Screenshots of the Simpsons Capitol mob scene went viral as people exclaimed at the apparent prediction. Of course, the context differed. The Simpsons used it as dark satire, whereas 2021's events were a sobering reality. But the visual match was haunting. This entry is one of the darker Simpsons predictions, a case where a light-hearted cartoon moment foreshadowed a terrifying real-world event, giving this coincidence a chilling edge. Even the Simpsons jokes about entertainers have come true in disturbing ways. Back in 1993, an episode titled "Dollar Springfield," or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling, aired in Season 5, featuring a parody of Siegfried and Roy, the famous Las Vegas magic duo known for performing with white tigers. In the show, the look-alike magicians, named Gunther and Ernst, take the stage with a big cat. In a twist played for dark humor, the usually tame white Bengal tiger suddenly turns on its handlers and attacks them during the act. It was a shocking gag poking fun at the risks of using wild animals in shows. For years, it was just an exaggerated cartoon scenario, until reality caught up in a horrifying way. What happened in reality? In 2003, legendary magician Roy Horn of Siegfried and Roy was mauled on stage by a white Bengal tiger during a live Las Vegas performance. The incident was chilling, like what The Simpsons had portrayed a decade earlier. Roy Horn survived, but was severely injured, left partially paralyzed. And the famous duo's long-running show abruptly ended. Fans of the cartoon immediately remembered the Simpsons episode and drew comparisons, marveling at how it predicted the tiger attack. While one could argue it was only a matter of time before unpredictable animal behavior led to such an accident, the specificity of the Simpsons gag is uncanny. The once humorous scene became retrospectively creepy, as if the show had foreseen the dark side of a real Vegas spectacle. Perhaps one of the most talked about predictions emerged from the Season 4 episode Marge in Chains, which aired way back in 1993. In this episode, a mysterious Osaka flu virus from Asia spreads through Springfield, infecting everyone after they open contaminated packages from Japan. The town descends into panic as people cough uncontrollably and demand a cure. In one chaotic scene, a desperate mob tips over a truck they think contains a medicine. Instead, the crash unleashes a swarm of killer bees that were being transported inside. The Simpsons played this for dark comedy, but in retrospect, it feels like a harbinger of the year 2020. A viral pandemic combined with ominous buzzing invaders. What happened in reality? Fast forward to 2020, the year that felt straight out of a horror movie. A real global pandemic struck as COVID-19 spread worldwide, causing chaos, fear, and lockdowns. As if a deadly new virus wasn't enough, headlines soon reported the arrival of so-called murder hornets, Asian giant hornets, spotted in the US, invasive insects with venomous stings. The eerie overlap with the old Simpsons episode sent the internet into a frenzy. Clips of the Springfield, Osaka flu outbreak and the released bees went viral, with viewers remarking how the 1993 show seemed to predict 2020's twin horrors. One of the episode's writers even admitted The Simpsons had predicted 2020 in a tongue-in-cheek tweet. Of course, the Osaka flu story was inspired by a 1960s influenza outbreak, and the killer bees were a nod to then-current fears. But the combination of events was uncannily prophetic. This prediction feels like a spooky case of history repeating a cartoon scenario. A bizarre and chilling coincidence that made 2020 a little more surreal. What started as a throwaway joke in the early 2000s later became one of The Simpsons' most infamous predictions. In the season 11 episode Bart to the Future, aired 2000, viewers see a flash forward to adulthood where Lisa Simpson has become President of the United States. In a comedic aside, it's mentioned that her predecessor was none other than Donald Trump, who left the nation in debt. At the time, Trump was a well-known businessman and TV personality who had made a brief, quixotic run for president as a third-party candidate. The Simpsons writers included him as the ultimate absurd example of a celebrity-turned-president, a far-fetched satire that got a big laugh in 2000. It seemed impossibly ridiculous, until it happened. What happened in reality? In 2016, Donald Trump shocked the world by winning the U.S. presidential election, becoming the 45th president. The once joking reference in The Simpsons suddenly felt like a dark prophecy fulfilled. People dug up the clip of Lisa saying, "We've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump," astonished that a 16-year-old Simpsons gag had come true. The eerie factor was amplified by real events during Trump's tenure that The Simpsons had also spoofed. Even a scene of him waving on a golden escalator, like his real 2015 campaign announcement. While the writers likely chose Trump in 2000 as a humorous exaggeration, the accuracy of this satirical prediction is downright chilling in hindsight. The line between cartoon and reality blurred, leaving an unsettling question. Did The Simpsons foresee one of the most tumultuous presidencies in U.S. history? Whether coincidence or not, this prediction remains one of the show's most jaw-dropping and surreal moments come to life. Of all The Simpsons' predictions, one stands out as especially spine-tingling. It comes from the season 9 episode The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson, which aired in 1997. In one scene, the family plans a trip to New York, and Marge holds up a brochure that famously reads $9 for a trip, next to an illustration of the Twin Towers in the background. Together, the big 9, alongside the Twin Towers, which appear as a giant 11, forms an uncanny 9/11ths in the frame. This moment is brief but haunting. Years before the September 11th, 2001 attacks, The Simpsons presented an image that seemingly hinted at 9/11ths. Even the show's staff have expressed astonishment at this coincidence. A simple gag about a cheap New York vacation now looks like an eerie omen. What happened in reality? On September 11th, 2001, the world witnessed the tragic terror attacks on New York's World Trade Center. In the aftermath, fans remembered that strange Simpsons scene. The still image of Lisa holding the New York $9 magazine with the Twin Towers went viral as people grappled with how a 1997 cartoon could appear to reference 9/11ths. The Simpsons team has acknowledged the weirdness. Bill Oakley, the episode's executive producer, said they chose the $9 price as a joke about cheap fares. But he admitted, it's eerie, given the later significance of those numbers. Indeed, it's a bizarre, chilling coincidence, the kind that fuels endless speculation. No, the show didn't truly predict the attacks, but this visual foreshadowing remains one of the creepiest pieces of Simpsons trivia. It's a reminder of how sometimes reality aligns in disturbing ways with fiction, making this the most haunting Simpsons prediction of all. From global pandemics to personal tragedies, and even scientific breakthroughs. These 10 cases show the Simpsons' strange knack for anticipating the future. Each prediction carries its own aura of mystery, some playful and coincidental, others downright unsettling. Whether it's pure chance, sharp satire, or a bit of both, the show's ability to mirror real events has cemented its status as a pop culture oracle. As we've seen, what happens in Springfield doesn't always stay in Springfield. So the next time you watch an old Simpsons episode, pay attention. You might just catch a glimpse of our reality, decades before it happens. Doe.